All right. Oh, I've got to record this too. Hello, everybody. While I get things set up here, you have Tara Baklund here. Now we are recording. Hello, everybody. Tara Baklund here with Herbs in Spanglish and with
Alberto Carbo or Alberto.
and Herbs in Español or Spanglish is, well, aquí estoy, Tara Baklund, en español también. Okay, vamos a hacer the Spanglish part of this, right?
Yo soy Alberto Carbo.
And with this, Herbs in Spanglish is for those who want to learn English, Spanish, es Herbes en Español, o en Spanglish es para los que quieren aprender inglés o español, y también de las hierbas. And so if you want to learn about herbs too, this is a great basic way to learn your language skills, culture skills, and about how to take care of you and your family naturally. So here we are again. And glad to be here. We have a very beautiful and basic herb today. Hoy tenemos una hierba muy básica, muy típica, pero muy importante. It's a really important herb that you definitely want to have at home. So which one is that, Alberto?
La hierba del día se llama Saúco, or elderberry in English is the herb of the day. And yeah, as Tara was saying, it's exciting because it's, although very common and almost everybody knows about it now, not everyone does, and it's important to talk about even the common things. Aunque el Saúco ya es usado bastante frecuentemente, no todo el mundo la conoce, y tengo la sospecha de que especialmente en Sudamérica, no es tan popular. I have a suspicion that in South America, it's not as widely used as in North America and in Europe, of course.
Mm-hmm. And the photos that you're going to see today are going to primarily be of the Niagara version, or actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. Voy a esperar un poquito. Vamos paso a paso. Let's go step by step here. Okay, so first of all, this is not medical advice. These are anecdotes, stories, how these herbs have traditionally been used. Always consult your medical provider on information regarding your particular health. So esto no es consejo médico, estos son historias y experiencias personales basadas en tradición. Consultas con un médico para cualquier preocupación o cambio relacionado a su salud. That was a great test. I hardly ever read Spanish out loud, and it's been weeks, well, really months since I've spoken Spanish. So this is the great test, and this is why we're doing it too, at least for me. I love language, love culture, love learning things. Yo me encanta aprender las cosas de la lengua, culturas, hierbas, salud, and you really learn when you apply, right? And sometimes you just have to do it. Aprendemos, ¿cómo? Aprendemos, ¿sí?
Aprendemos, sí.
Sí. Cuando hagamos la cosa que otra cosa, que queremos. Queremos, claro, eso es tan simple. Aprender, you have to apply yourself. And so my mistakes, esos errores que estoy haciendo, these mistakes are for you. To just make sure, get out there, just try it, just do it.
Pero es un muy buen ejemplo. Si observan a Tara, hay alguien que quiere aprender un idioma, tiene que lanzarse. If you want, Tara is a great example, and because if you want to learn a language, you really have to just, be willing to make mistakes, and that's how you learn. That's the best way.
Absolutely. And it can be really fun and funny too. A veces es muy chistoso también las cosas que digas. And so you have to be able to laugh at yourself, but that's going back. It's actually safer to learn a language. It's not necessarily what I'm encouraging you to do with herbs. Do have more precaution with herbs than your language. So there's a little funny reference. Entonces tienes más precaución con las hierbas, con la salud de que la lengua. Well, también las lenguas, las idiomas también. Pero vamos a continuar. Let's keep going.
Entonces la planta del día es el Saúco, or elderberry is the plant of the day. Como Tara estaba diciendo, hay varias especies. La más conocida o la oficial es el Sambucus nigra, que es originaria de Europa. So the original or the official species is the Sambucus nigra, originating in Europe. But there is also the Sambucus canadensis, which is found in North America, and the Sambucus peruviana, which is found in South America. Entonces, aunque la original, la oficial se encuentra en Europa, el Sambucus canadensis es más de Norteamérica, mientras que el Sambucus peruviana se encuentra en Sudamérica.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Real quick question. So I didn't know that there's a peruviana variety. No sabía que hay peruviana, Sambucus peruviana. ¿Has visto unas fotos? Because we don't have images here of the peruviana. We have either nigra or canadensis because those are more official and more common. Did it look pretty similar?
Yeah, it does look pretty similar. Here, I'll show you. Les voy a mostrar. Entonces, esta es la peruviana. Estas son las flores. These are the flowers. So quite similar to the, we can compare. This is the nigra. So the flowers are maybe finer, tal vez un poco más finas las del nigra, pero son muy parecidas.
Y las bayas, the fruit also?
Sí, las bayas son... está cargando un momento. Sí, estas son las bayas.
Okay.
Entonces son bastante parecidas. They're pretty similar.
And of course, this is not an identification course, make sure that you're identifying properly, but this is to give you an idea. Entonces, esto no es un curso de identificar las plantas, pero es para tener una idea de lo que estás buscando.
Sí, y si comparamos acá con if we compare to the Sambucus nigra,
and this resource, the naturalist.org, this also has a Spanish version, is correct? This is the one that also has a Spanish version?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Great resource. So este recurso que has mencionado varias veces, la naturalista.org.
Sí, esos van a estar en la descripción del podcast. Bueno, si quieres podemos volver al slideshow. O de pronto mostrar dónde crece. Yeah,
so while we're here, we'll see where these grow. So
yeah, this is a great resource for seeing where they grow, because it has a map, and el mapa nos muestra dónde crecen, y es muy interesante ver dónde crece el Sambucus nigra y dónde crece la peruviana. Entonces podemos ver, we can see some red spaces over here where it grows, mostly in the mountain ranges of South America. Again, this is the Sambucus nigra, or the originally European species. And if you go up through Central America, you have some, but then if we zoom out, si nos alejamos, podemos ver que en Norteamérica crece bastante y fue importada, or it was brought to North America, but naturalized quite well. And then Europe is just full of it. Mientras que si vamos al Sambucus peruviana,
and it looks like it grows quite well around you as well, the nigra. It does here in Minnesota.
Yeah, it grows well here.
So crece también en mi estado, Minnesota, y también donde vive Alberto en Canadá.
Sí, en Ontario. Entonces, esta es la peruviana, y si podemos ver, we can see that the Peruvian one, again, mountain ranges. It's not it's not like it grows everywhere.
Mhm.
But if we zoom out, there's a bit, hay un poco en Mexico,
Mhm.
but none in North America,
Un poquito en África.
un poquito en África.
Yeah, a little bit. Maybe someone brought a plant. How it goes. Alguien llevó una planta.
Una semillita.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Well, great. So parece que muy similares. Looks like they look really similar.
Yeah, they look really similar.
So we'll be focusing on the Nigra or the Canadensis. Vamos a enfocar en la Nigra o Canadensis, but that was just to give you an idea. Obviously, they look really similar. And if you live in Central or South America, look for it yourself. Let us know. Send a picture and contact us. #Herbs in Spanglish. So entonces, si vives en América Central o del Sur, mandas una foto o pones una foto con la #Herbs in Spanglish. We'd love to see it.
Sí, y es importante decir que el uso medicinal, aunque el oficial es el Sambucus nigra, son intercambiables el peruviano y el canadense. So Sambucus canadensis and peruviana are interchangeable with the Sambucus nigra.
Wonderful. Thanks for remembering that. So today we're talking about the primary use. You can use the flower as well, but we're going to talk specifically about the berry today. And so know that these uses, they might interchange with the flower, but we're speaking specifically of the berry. So hoy estamos discutiendo, ¿correcto?
Sí, discutiendo, hablando acerca de...
Sobre la baya o the berry, pero también puede usar las flores, pueden usar las flores, pero un poquito, los usos son un poquito diferentes, pero no totalmente por las flores, pero para hacer un podcast muy simple, vamos a enfocar en la baya. So to keep it simple today, we're going to just concentrate on the berry. Is that good?
Yeah.
Anything else to say?
Yeah. Well, I'll just say that there's so much you can learn about one single plant. So especially for beginners, yeah, to focus on the most common use is a good idea. Hay tantos usos para las plantas que especialmente si uno es principiante es bueno enfocarse en solo un uso y aprenderlo bien.
There's an herbalist that teaches at the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism called Phyllis Light. And she says, you know, to be a great herbalist, you don't have to know hundreds of herbs. You can just know a handful of herbs and how to use it in hundreds or even tens of ways, right? Hay una profesora, una maestra en la Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, una escuela online de, ¿es herbalismo? Sí, en español.
Herborismo.
Y dije que no tienes que conocer 100 hierbas para ser un maestro de hierbas, o no, pero puede conocer solamente 5 o 10 hierbas y saber cómo usar estas 5 o 10 hierbas en muchas veces, maneras. And so this is a great example of that, where elderberry will cover so many things. Oops, there we go.
Entonces acá tenemos unas bayas, some berries on the left, a la izquierda, and the lungs on the right. Y como pueden ver, se parecen. As you can see, they look alike, and that's what's called the Doctrine of Signatures. Eso se llama la Doctrina de Asignaturas, que es una forma antigua de observar las plantas y relacionarlas a nosotros mismos o a partes del cuerpo o a enfermedades que pueden suceder. And so the Doctrine of Signatures is an ancient way of seeing how plants mimic either parts of the body or ailments, or how they can be helpful. and it's very evident, es súper evidente acá. Es increíble, really.
That's the exact word I was thinking of. It's incredible, actually. We actually have an ongoing course at the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism that a wonderful teacher, Lee Arnold, teaches. Is free currently, where you can, each month she covers a different herb. Ahí en esta escuela online que yo dije antes, Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, hay una maestra que enseña una clase cada mes y cada mes una hierba, y ella enseña la doctrina de asignaturas para cada hierba cada mes. Entonces búscalo allá en Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism and check it out there. It's really super fascinating how each herb has its own signature, and it makes me wonder, it's like the chicken or the egg kind of thing. Do they have that in Spanish, chicken or egg? I think I asked that before. Which first?
Sí, no tanto, pero creo que se entendería. Yeah, it would be understood. Como que ¿qué vino primero, la gallina o el huevo?
Yep, we say that all the time in English. I think those are really fascinating, the cross-cultural differences, if that phrase exists. So yeah, the chicken or the egg. Did the Doctrine of Signatures exist first and the plants formulated themselves to kind of match our bodies, or is it the other way around? I don't think we can even really surmise.
Y bueno, como la doctrina de asignatura sugiere, or as the Doctrine of Signatures suggests, the berries are very good for the lungs. Son muy útiles para la salud de los pulmones. And that's what we'll be concentrating on today, is how to use the berries medicinally. Nos concentraremos hoy en cómo aprender a usar las bayas medicinalmente.
So yeah, it strengthens the immune system, fortalece el sistema inmunológico. Oh, here's my test again. I get to read in Spanish. All right, strengthen the respiratory system, fortaleza el sistema respiratorio. It's nutritive, so it's nutritivo. So it has nutrition in it as a food. Can be used as a food as well, although there's some precautions later. It's antiviral and antibacterial. So it's antiviral and antibacterial. Did I get the accent right?
Yeah.
Great.
Sí. Entonces, ¿cómo usar? Se puede para cocinar, or cooking is a great, so muffins are a great way to go. En español, los muffins, para los que no saben, son como una torta chiquita, como un pan dulce, muy norteamericano. Y se pueden hacer con toda clase de cosas, pero se pueden usar para cocinar en galletas, en queques o ponqués, tortas o mermeladas.
Did you say queques?
Yeah.
What are queques?
Queque is how they say cake in Peru.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense, but I always have to check, because there's always those false cognates that you think you're saying it right. Or what was the other one? You said cupcakes are becoming more popular in Central and South America?
Yeah, cupcakes are becoming more popular, but they're just called cupcake.
Yes. So the false cognates, they can is a word. So una cosa de las idiomas. False cognate, no sé en español, pero es como decir, hay una palabra que es escrito lo mismo en las dos idiomas, en las dos lenguas, pero si pronuncia, el significado puede ser diferente. So in this case, cupcakes is pronounced similarly and it has the same meaning. The false cognate is when it's spelled the same or sounds the same and it's different. So there's really funny ones in other languages, like we're going on a tangent here for a moment, but in German, rock means not rock, but skirt. That's fun, right?
Ajá.
Entonces, false cognates son palabras que se parezcan similares o son exactamente los mismos escrito o el sonido, pero el significado es diferente. But in this case, cupcakes is cupcake. And so they're fun little learning language things. Muffins are wonderful. If you've
Mhm.
never had them, look up a recipe. Alberto is a chef, and maybe he'll make us create a recipe for blueberry muffin, or not blueberry, elderberry muffins.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, they're muffins. You can make so many types, tantos tipos diferentes de muffin. Pero sí, es como un pan dulce y o un ponqué dulce chiquito. Y después, para usos medicinales, el jarabe, or for medicinal purposes, the syrup is really useful, and a great way to consume it because it keeps well, and it tastes delicious. And it helps with respiratory infections such as colds, flus, and yeah, entonces el jarabe se usa para gripa, fiebre, malestar respiratorio, y es, o sea, es una preparación que se puede guardar, no se daña rápidamente y sabe muy rico.
So you can use it for like cold, flus, just kind of generally feeling under the weather. It's something that you can take really regularly. It's not, it's nutritive also. So kind of summarizing what you're saying in English as well. Hay unas hierbas que le gusta más poner o combinar con ese saúco o jarabe de saúco. Is that right? So do you have other herbs that you like to combine with it, either for taste or medicine?
Absolutely. For medicinal purposes and taste as well, I like to put cinnamon, you can put cloves, you can put thyme, you could put some rosemary. Usually I go for like cloves, cinnamon, and thyme. Entonces, normalmente más que todo lo mezclo con tomillo, canela o clavos de olor, y esas tres hierbas también son antivirales, antimicrobiales, y ayudan a expectorar o a sacar flema o a inducir una tos para sacar el virus que está que te está atacando. And so, yeah, so all three of those herbs are respiratory, have respiratory uses and can help expectorate and help to create a cough reflex that helps to expel the virus or whatever you're trying to fight in that moment.
A mí me gusta también poner el jengibre. I also like ginger, and it does a lot of those same things, especially with the warming and expectorant qualities. También muchas personas ponen miel. A lot of people put in honey, which is a great sweetener, and it's also medicinal.
And herbs are really great at adapting to the conditions that you're experiencing. So an interesting thing about elderberry is that it's also a relaxant a relaxing expectorant. So if you have a cough where you're having coughing fits and you can't stop coughing to the point where you're, it's very uncomfortable. Sometimes even people throw up when they cough so much. It helps to relax the chest, relax the lungs, so that you'll still cough, but it's not out of control. Entonces las bayas del saúco son un expectorante relajante. Entonces también sirven si alguien tiene una tos muy fuerte que no pueden parar de toser, ayuda a relajar el pecho, relajar los pulmones para que la tos no sea tan invasiva, tan presente.
And that's especially helpful for older people and kids. I mean, for everybody, but especially los idosos, ¿sí? Los mayores y los jóvenes o las crianzas también, porque es más, it's tougher on them if they have a strong cough. Es más duro en sus cuerpos para los mayores y las crianzas.
Sí, y además sabe rico. Entonces, para los niños es buenísimo porque hay veces los niños no quieren tomar jarabes o algo que no sepa rico. Entonces, yeah, it tastes great. So kids love it. My kids love it. I've many of my friends' kids love it. It really tastes. My kids are always saying like, "Oh, can I have more?" So that's a pro for sure. That it helps. If they accept the medicine, then that helps. It makes things easier.
Totally. So you can make it into tinctures. Pueden hacer una tintura por la medicina y también jugo o infusión or a juice or a tea. There are many ways that you can make it and take it. Depends on it if you want it preserved. Maybe it's easier to travel with the tincture. Depende on varias maneras que puedes preparar el saúco y ayuda. También depende si quiere llevar, por ejemplo, es más fácil llevar una tintura si estás viajando, o an infusion, for example, is really quick to make. So there's a lot of flexibility in how you can use the herb.
Y se puede usar fresca o seca. Entonces, si no la puedes encontrar fresca, búscala ya seca y se puede hacer una tintura o la infusión, pero si la encuentras fresca, aún mejor. So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to translate for you. We were just talking earlier. Sometimes you forget if you said it in Spanish or English. So what Alberto said is you can use it fresh or dried, which is really great, whether it's in season or not, or maybe you dried it a lot. So far, most of the preparations I've made have been from the dried, because it's just, by the time I think of making it, it's already out of season. And so that's really, really helpful that way as well.
And the birds definitely get there first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but los pájaros les encantan las bayas.
For sure. Yeah, you got to beat them to it.
Entonces,
Sorry, go ahead.
¿Cómo encontrar la baya? Digo, el saúco. Se puede encontrar en la naturaleza. Claro que hay que saber identificar la planta correctamente. Entonces, si no sabes, encuentra a alguien que conoce en tu región, o tal vez con un libro específicamente para identificación de plantas, también en las cooperativas o mercados, y en línea.
Yeah, so it's pretty relatively easy to find, at least in North America. It's become very common. You can find it out in nature. It grows pretty readily in a lot of regions, especially woodland type of regions. Of course, make sure that you identify it properly, whether it's with an herbalist on an herb walk, with a book. Be very careful to identify it properly. And then a lot of co-ops these days carry it either pre-prepared in some kind of tincture, or you can get it dried in a lot of co-op style markets, and you can find it online. Of course, finding a good vendor that uses clean ingredients is always the key. So look for, you can't always guarantee, even if they say that in the description that it's properly collected, but ask around is a good way. I would say a good resource would be at the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism. We have an online community, and you can ask around where people are getting theirs as well.
Como siempre, hay que tener cuidado. El uso general es muy común y es sano y salvo, pero en exceso de las bayas pueden causar diarrea. Entonces, si lo echas en unas galletas o en un ponqué o torta, o cocinas con ellas no sería problema. Yo creo que sería problema si se consume en exceso. Y hay plantas con bayas blancas que son venenosas, entonces aléjense de esas. Y siempre asegúrate de hablar con tu doctor antes de usar cualquier planta medicinal.
Exactly. So it's generally very safe to use. Like it can be used as food, medicine. So, but having too many berries can cause diarrhea, and make sure proper identification is really important. Do not use the white berries. They look really similar. There's a plant that looks really similar with white berries. Do not use that. That is poisonous. And of course, always check in with your trusted medical provider if you have condition, if you're wondering if this is right for you. It's generally very safe. Alberto, you say your kids like will ask for more. Have you ever encountered them having too much in particular and getting the diarrhea issues?
Never. I think it would have to be quite excessive to do that. Yeah, my kids, they take the syrup on a daily basis. But by the way, they just like same myself and my kids take a 1/4 teaspoon a day. I take a teaspoon every day, sometimes twice a day. And then if I'm sick, then I'll take it, the syrup I'm talking about. Then if I'm sick, I'll take the syrup, like 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a day, depending on if I'm having a lot of coughing or a lot of soreness in the throat. And yeah, never have I had an issue with, I think you'd have to, consume, maybe go crazy with the fresh stuff and put it in everything.
Yo
Which you might not
pregunté
want to
a
do.
Alberto si sus niños han tomado tanto que how would you say, then they would get diarrhea? How would you say that?
Sí, que les da diarrea.
¿Ah? Y dijo que no, que mismo como les gusta mucho del jarabe, que no toman, no, todavía no han tomado tanto que causó diarrea. Is that how you say it?
Sí.
Okay. I'm waiting for your reaction. Like, did I get it?
I thought you were going to keep going. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, you got it.
Great.
Sí, y para el jarabe se puede usar, por lo general, yo lo uso para mis hijos, 1/4 de cucharadita por día. Y si les da gripa, 1/4 de cucharadita, 3, 4, hay veces 5 veces al día, dependiendo de los síntomas, de la tos, si la garganta está muy dolorosa. Y para adultos, se puede usar más como 1 cucharadita diaria. Y si a uno le da gripa, ayuda, se puede usar 3, 4 o 5 veces, 1 cucharadita 3, 4 o 5 veces al día. Y sí, y es importante decir también que ayuda a disminuir el tiempo que uno tiene gripa. So it helps to reduce the amount of time that you have a cold. So if you have especially if you use it daily, and then when you get sick, you use a little more, instead of having a cold for a week, you'll probably have it for, a shorter amount of time. So it doesn't mean you won't ever get sick. That can still happen, but it'll help with recovery.
And elderberry is one of those fairly rare herbs that actually has a fair amount of studies on it. And so while, traditionally, typically we're telling you stories or traditional uses, you can actually find a fair amount of good studies on elderberry, and that it actually has been helpful in the recent pandemic that we all went through. So la hierba Saúco es una de las hierbas más raras en lo que quiero decir es, no hay muchas hierbas que han estudiado mucho, como en hacer estudios que quería decir, pero Saúco es uno de los que han muchos o varios estudios sobre no solamente el uso, pero el buen resultado.
Ujú.
So you can look for those studies. It's pretty amazing. They're pretty incredible.
Mm. Sí, históricamente, en el pasado, Charlemagne, en Francia, en el año 800, el rey Charlemagne decretó que el Saúco se debiese sembrar en todos los patios de su reino. So in 800 CE, Charlemagne decreed that elderberry should be planted in all patios in his kingdom because of how great it was for respiratory infections.
Pretty incredible. And it's fascinating when there's these uses, from so long ago or across the world. So, for example, es muy increíble cuando han los mismos usos o dicas por el mundo entero. Por ejemplo, en Celtic, Germanic, Icelandic, how would you say those in
Célticos, germánicos y islándicos. Las culturas.
Gracias. El Saúco es considerado como un portal al mundo de los espíritus. So elder was considered to be a portal to the underworld. So how incredible that those various cultures thought the same thing.
Ujú. Y una cosa que me acabo de acordar es que el nombre es Sambuca, viene del griego, y en el griego Sambuca significaba varios instrumentos, incluyendo las arpas y las flautas. So in Greek, Sambuca means it meant several different instruments, including harps and flutes. Y el dios griego, Pan, Pan, era el dios del poder y la naturaleza, y tocaba una flauta hecha de madera de saúco. And so the Greek god Pan, who was the god of power and nature, would play a flute, and it was made of elderberry wood.
I wonder if Kokopelli is another similar type character. I wonder if his flute was made of similar materials, or we have kind of these cross-cultural references of the flute being used to bring forth, a spirit, or maybe to charm a snake. No sé, pero mi interés es que hay unas conexiones con otros. No creo que es un dios, pero hay un carácter que se llama Kokopelli, que también hay una flauta y han historias similares. Me interesa que son más similares en el fondo de que como en the superficie.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're more similar, from the surface to deeper down.
Yeah, it's interesting. And even some say that Jesus was crucified on a cross made of elder wood. So that's interesting. Algunos dicen que Jesús fue crucificado y la cruz era hecha de madera de saúco.
So many things, and especially at the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, you go into great depths about these things, and it's so, as you can see, it's so easy to start going that way. Como están cuando puedes ver, es muy simple iniciar, ir en esa dirección de más detalles, de preguntas. Y in the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism, we go a lot further as well with teachers who are very well knowledgeable about these things.
Y bueno, creo que eso es todo por hoy. Gracias por venir, gracias por estar acá. Y si quieres aprender más, claro, ve y habla con un herbolista en tu región, pero si encuentras saúco creciendo en tu región, déjanos un comentario o una foto y nos encantaría ver qué encuentran.
Exactly. Thank you so much, everybody. Thanks, Alberto, for sharing with us your experiences. You're helping me with the Spanish part of this and feel comfortable with it. And like Alberto said too, find an herbalist in your area. We'll have some links in the description below, also some resources mentioned or that may be additionally helpful. And you can learn more, feel better naturally with herbs. And we'll be back with some more Herbs in Spanglish. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Adios.